if the Boston Breach end up hoisting the CDL trophy, can we expect a duckboat parade? Championship Sunday, Boston Breach Challengers event ahead of Major 4 with Murph, the president and co-founder of Oxygen Esports. What's going on? How's everything?
Not much, just having a blast. It's good to get the Call of Duty community back out. It's been a long time since we've had an event of this magnitude at Helix over at Foxborough, so just thrilled. What a great community, and some thrilling gameplay so far today.
Yeah, and Chris was telling me that the turnout over the weekend has been pretty great. Yeah. A lot of energy, a lot of intensity, especially from the players, and I mean the crowd's been pretty hype as well. Like how are you guys feeling overall?
I feel great. I think there has not been a standalone Challengers event at least in the last 3 or 4 years, and so if you think about, we were not sure what to expect from a turnout perspective. I mean, we've got over 500 or 600 people here, 60 plus teams.
Yeah,
it's been phenomenal. I mean, we knew the Call of Duty community would always show out, but not in such force, and especially away from the major. So we're thrilled. But the Challenger scene never ceases to amaze me. I mean, these guys, they grind, the passion's always there. So
yeah,
we knew they'd show out, but not quite this hard.
Boston Academy, heartbreaking loss to send them home today. But overall, really strong showing from the guys. I think, big focal point obviously was Dan Ghosty was, had some incredible sound bites literally, over the last couple days. Sensor, I thought, especially in the last couple games, really had a strong showing. How do you feel about, and how does the org feel about Boston Academy as a whole, and like, where do you see them going?
First, Academy is huge for Oxygen. We can touch on that a little bit later, but I'm just thrilled. I mean, Doug obviously came in as the anchor of that team. He's just a phenomenal person, a phenomenal leader. I mean, the guy is just so dedicated to competitive COD. It is unbelievable. I give him so much respect. The man just wants to win. The man just wants to compete, but also for his ability to step outside his own career and pick up and take on the likes of Dan. Shawnee's a little bit more established, but also Kyle and Rollins. I mean, these two kids, he's gone out of his way to mentor these kids, and he's probably more invested in getting those kids placed on a CDL roster than he is his own, which again, it speaks volumes to Doug, because again, he's been at the Apex, and now he's playing a Challenger, so again, what he's done is just hats off. It's a great player, but an even better person. It's
a beautiful place to be, like being in Helix Esports, but also kind of almost in the shadow of Patriot Place. You're in one of the winningest atmospheres in professional sports as a whole. How does Oxygen Esports kind of navigate and like find their foothold in that kind of larger scene of like Boston sports as a whole?
It's it's actually a lot of fun. I think that obviously having merged with the Crafts and the Uprising, that we get to lean on them a lot for how to instill that culture. And again, I think now the Crafts lean on us as the operational partner to actually do the day-to-day esports stuff. So it's been a ton of fun. I think it's esports has carved out its own little niche. It's been a lot of fun to have our own regionalized franchises. But again, I think being in the shadow of the greatest thing, it motivates the guys, and they come in every day. And just on Thursday, we had a Patriots player in. It's not announced yet, but it will be soon. He's joining the ranks of Oxygen. We've got another one that's soon behind. So again, it's a lot of fun to be able to cross-collaborate with Revolution and the Pats, because again, I think Overwatch is an unbelievable title, but just with the traditional sports fan, there's not quite that crossover. But with Call of Duty, with Rocket League, and some of the other titles that we're in, there's a lot more pop culture, sports culture crossover. And I think our guys have grasped on to the energy they're getting from the players, but the players also, they're coming into the facility, they're enjoying themselves, and so it's a pretty fun match, man. Especially being a little bit outside of Boston.
Yeah. All
these guys live out here, same with the Patriots. These guys are looking for something to do, and typically they're all going to gaming, and so it's been fun to connect our players with them, but also the Patriots players with our guys, because they kind of look up to each other in different elements.
As somebody who has only really started to get into esports over the last couple of years, one of my biggest blockers was like not really feeling connected to a team. It's the same reason why, I mean, we're both Massachusetts guys. Like, I never was a college football guy. I'm still not. Do you feel like a certain sense of like responsibility, kind of having that, being this new pillar of Boston sports in general, or do you feel like Oxygen is still kind of building out their own identity individually?
It's a great point. I mean, I think there's certainly a little bit of responsibility, because I think it's easy to claim a city and do nothing in it. There's certainly a lot of orgs that have done that in the past, but I think like the responsibility comes to actually executing, and I think, like, to us, like, we love having the facility. So again, like, this Helix location here, we have the other location that we have at the base, the charity in downtown Roxbury. It's a lot of fun investing in the community, and I think I go back to, like, how do we start to build that amateur to pro pipeline? So back to your point around college football, how do we actually keep and retain and develop homegrown talent so people do feel an affinity towards our teams by promoting talent up through our system into those pro teams? Because again, esports is globally distributed. It's that amateur ecosystem isn't quite built yet,
right?
And so you don't have those stories of following a Kevin Hayes when I was playing hockey growing up, or Jimmy VC, these kids that I played against growing up. Like, you didn't have, those stories don't exist because you're playing against kids online. So the idea is, how do you start to make gaming local in the sense that you're at least competing against other players and locals? You at least have an affinity, or I used to play against like being washed up and retired now, playing beer league hockey. Used to play against Kevin Hayes, like, he's still in the league now.
Yeah.
Trying to build that same atmosphere at these facilities. So there's a good crossover between Oxygen and Helix now.
And do you feel like the players feel a connection to the city as well?
I certainly think they do, and I think this weekend helps solidify that. But I also look at, like, again, like with the Breach CDL team winning last night and leaving their practice facility, which is upstairs, and having to walk through the crowd and they did a victory lap, and they got a meet and greet, they got free cookies for the whole crowd. Like, that's the type of stuff that we're trying to do, and I think they feed off that energy as well. And I think it's very easy for these guys to be tucked away in a room at a compound somewhere in Dallas, but like being invested, I give the guys a lot of credit for investing back in the community. And I think Methods, Reese, Dylan, Nero, and TJ have done an unbelievable job, and Caps as well, in understanding that the fans are the reason why they get to do what they do and why they are here. And so they've given a ton back. And I mean, Denham and Zach have done an unbelievable job kind of cultivating that respect for the fans. Obviously, these fans absolutely love these players.
Yeah.
And again, like, without the fans, the players wouldn't be able to get to do what they do and make a living. And so, but I give the players a ton of credit for buying in and really investing back in the community. Again, we had the after party for PAX in downtown Boston. The guys were all there and they had a blast. We've done this. So again, just trying to cultivate that community is huge for us.
Yeah, that type of transparency, that type of accessibility, and that type of proximity to a fan base will really help them, I think, feel grounded and feel supported. With traditional sports, you can get to a point where, people would say, like, this stadium or this city is a really tough place to play. I haven't really seen that or felt that with esports before, but I would love to get to a point where, and I'm sure you would too, where this place is packed to the gills and it's an absolute madhouse for home games.
Yeah.
And, like, other teams are like, shit, I need to go play in Foxborough. Like, that's going to be a tough series because you're going to have to deal with the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, I think, first of all, I think going back to, like, players buying and accessibility, I think I give Zach and Dens a ton of credit for building a team of good people. I mean, like, Methods and Doug, they don't need to do what they do. But they understand, and they are the type of person, same with TJ, that these fans have given them their loyalty. Like, the guys want to give back. There's plenty of players in the league who wouldn't do this. And so I think that our team's built in a way to help cultivate this. I think it's part of our identity. But going back to that point, like, 100%. But I even think, like, and I always joke, it's kind of, being the first year in the CDL, I'll accept this, but we're just about everybody's second favorite team. Okay. And unless we're playing Optic, everyone's usually in our corner. And it's like, that to us is a six-month-old brand. We'll take that. And again, we're converting to Denny's fan base, and we've got some diehard fans, but we've quickly gone from being the new who are these guys to everyone's second favorite team. Obviously, Optic is Optic, but I think we are not far off from this place being like, oh shit, we gotta go play the beach, we gotta go to Foxborough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see this becoming like a destination, even if somebody lives nearby or, like, a state or two away. I mean, Foxborough, I live in Massachusetts, and Foxborough's still out of the way for me, but, being like a destination, being like, we should really go see, like, let's go see them live, let's do it. So for the holdouts, for the folks that, maybe they see the fact that they got a home team now, what would you say sets Oxygen Esports apart and the other teams apart from other orgs, and why should people watch?
I think what's going to set us apart and what has is that we're trying to make this very social, but also in person. A lot of teams are focused on doing Discord watch parties and you got to watch it at home by yourself. Like, again, like, so much, why would I go out and pay $6 for a Bud Light at a bar when I could do that and drink 6 of them at home for $6?
Right.
It's part of the experience. But you go out to a bar because it's part of the experience. You get to meet people. And for us, with these physical facilities, with our focus on these tournaments, on the amateur scene, like, we want people to build relationships outside of our fandom, but use our program and use our tournaments as a place to meet people. And so again, like I'd suggest, come out to our watch parties we'll be doing, come out to our facilities for these tournaments, come meet people that are trying to do similar things. Again, you don't necessarily need to be a Breach fan, or an Oxygen fan, but again, like what we're trying to do is build in New England a community of in-person esports enthusiasts and tournament enthusiasts, so they form friends outside the game. I think part of what makes gaming, the public perception to those who aren't integrated in the community that it's toxic is because people hide behind screen names, they hide behind keyboards. What we're trying to do is bring people out, level the playing field for competition by giving everyone access to the same gear, high quality gear, but at the same time, understanding who's on the other side of that microphone. And so the idea is you can make those friends, but also it teaches you a level of respect. And again, you don't hear it when the Call of Duty fans do that. But at the end of the day, they scream, but they're pounding each other. There is their own little unwritten rule set, like fighting in hockey.
Right.
Like that's kind of, I'd say that what the COD guys do is very similar. There is you don't cross. There's certain lines you don't cross, and although it seems like they've crossed the line, they know where that line is. And again, like it's the whole about just building these in-person relationships. But I think esports has been built backwards from pro sports, whereas pro sports took 100 years of amateur to fuel the pro levels now. What we just did is say, hey, this makes a lot of money. Let's just make pro esports. But what we forgot about is the rest of the pyramid underneath it. And so how do you build it backwards? And what we need to do is build it backwards is by creating that local community to hopefully meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, who knows, maybe you inspire somebody who ends up in a few years, on an amateur roster or like feeding to that. Or
what's crazy is I had to interrupt Scrappy, who's on Toronto Ultra, who's probably the most promising challenge player. He grew up playing in our Helix, New Jersey land. I used to sit next to his mom at 9 or 10 at night when we were wrapping up our tournament. And he's 14 years old. But yeah, so Scrappy, he's a good friend of ours now. But yeah, he's one of those kids that kind of came up through our system. But again, if we have one or two of those stories, it's worth it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's incredible. That's already happened with a brand that still is young, comparatively, as Oxygen. Two final questions. Oxygen Esports has more than just Overwatch and CDL. You guys have a ton of different players kind of scattered about on different games. What would you say is probably one of the more like unsung heroes of the Oxygen Esports roster that people might not know that you guys compete in? These guys are relatively well known, but I'd say the Rainbow Six guys, they have been with us. So Lax, Fox, Vert, Hopes, and Redeemer, and now obviously Newers and Dream are newer to that roster, but they've been with us since literally day one. They helped us launch the brand, so they will always have a special place in my heart. And they are currently the best team in North America, the first team to qualify for the second major. They're consistently top 5 in the world, so they're unbelievable.
Last question, it's a big one, and again, not counting the chickens before they hatch, because I know we got a long way until the season's done, but if the Boston Breach end up hoisting the CDL trophy, can we expect a duckboat parade?
I think we'd expect a duckboat parade after we get back from Vegas. I already promised you guys Vegas.
All right, Murph, appreciate you. Thanks so much. Best of luck with the rest of the event and for the rest of the season. Really appreciate the time. Boston Breach, Oxygen Esports, Boston Uprising, check them all out. Support the local heroes, and can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty.